Welcome everybody to my little garage here. It's the weekend, of course. It's Saturday today, which means I'm usually here doing something. Today the subject is my 91 16 valve GTI. If you follow my Instagram, you've seen this car quite a bit over the last, I guess I've owned it probably 2.5 years. So today, nothing too crazy, but it's due for an oil change. What was due when I parked it in the fall, so I'm going to warm it up to temp and change the oil today. I did some Mark IV brake calipers on the back of it a couple of weeks ago, so I'm gonna have an assistant here today to help me bleed those out, and I'm gonna deal with a fan speed resistor or fan resistor that only runs on high speed. So I've had that sitting around for a while, and it's time to kind of deal with that. So to that end, I think I'll be able to kind of bang these three things off today and get this thing up to snuff. So. It's kind of a never-ending battle maintaining the fleet, but it is what it is. JR and his boy are going to be here today just to give me a hand bleeding the brakes. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm not fancy enough to set up time-lapse stuff and have you watch me do all this. Maybe one day, but not today. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up, and as I kind of do stuff here, I'll make a couple little vids and see if we can string it together into something cohesive for the channel. Okay, see you in a bit. So let's talk a minute about everybody's favorite subject, oil. I think the only thing that causes more fights on the internet is probably, well, other than politics, of course, is probably tires. But oil is kind of a big one. I'm a Motul user. I like the stuff. It's always treated me really well. It comes from my years of motorcycling and an old GSXR that I had, I think, 180 some thousand kilometers, which had never been apart, was always on Motul. Filters, Mahle, Hengst, MAN, Bosch, if you're talking about Volkswagens and BMWs, they're all good. They're all kind of OE or OEM equivalents. And my Motul goes over into brake fluid as well, although I've got no issue with and have used and had great success with ATE, Pentacin. Basically, if you want my opinion on what fluids to use, open up the manual, whatever vehicle it is you have, Bentley manual if you're talking about Volkswagens, which we are here, and look up the lubrication chart and make sure that what you're using is an appropriate weight for the vehicle. With the old VWs, I like the 1550, 20W50, 1540 is okay in most cases. And buy something from a major brand, whether you're using Shell or Motul or Liquimoly. Honestly, you're not going to notice a big difference one between the other, in my opinion. I've used them all with good success. I like Motul. So that carries on to the brake fluid, which I've got set up in the back here. I've just got the car jacked up and the rear wheel's off of it. So the reason that I'm bleeding it out, I installed a new set of Mark IV aluminum rear calipers on it a couple weeks ago, I guess, and with a fresh set of Paget brake pads, which are just an OEM equivalent. I do have, don't yell at me, I have new rotors for the thing. I never put new pads on old rotors. However, I forgot to order wheel bearings for it. So that's going to be a project for another day. And I have to pull the rear beam out anyways. The bushings. Way down in here, I have another video somewhere of how worn out they are. So I'm going to drop the beam out of this thing and we'll do pads and I'll do rotors and bearings, beam bushings at the same time. So today I just want to get the pedal working, feeling proper. It's sitting low, there's some air in it. So when I bleed brakes, a couple things to note. Get yourself a bleeder wrench. It's actually a specific wrench for the job. Gives you a proper angle of approach to get on most calipers. These ones happen to have a 10 mil. This is, of course it's a 10 mil, right? But somehow I've never lost this. This is a snap-on bleeder wrench. I tend to find when you're working on brakes. And there you go. You want a tool that fits and works and is going to give you quality and not strip the fitting. The other thing I like to do, this is a piece of windshield washer fluid tubing from a BMW. I've had this same piece for probably 10 years to bleed brakes. I just press it over the bleeder screw and kind of stick it in a position where it'll drip into the pan. And what I'm doing right now is just, oh, sounds like we got a visitor. What I'm doing right now is just gravity bleeding the brakes until we have a leg inside the car to push on the pedal. My conversion hoses for this setup, these are stainless steel from Tectonics Tuning. That's their banjo bolt as well, so it makes the Mark IV calipers really easy on a Mark II. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get started on this and we'll talk to you later. So I just finished up bleeding out the rear brakes. Pedal feels good now. Everything is nice there. We can actually drive the car again if we get a little bit of break in the winter weather. So I'm going to turn my attention to the heater fan. I have a non-air conditioned car, and it's a super common issue, not just in Mark IIs, but in cars in general. If your heater fan doesn't work on anything except for high speed, generally speaking, that's a fan resistor. In a Mark II, that is located down underneath the passenger side, or behind the passenger side dashboard, right up on the heater fan. I'll see if I can get a shot of it, just so you kind of know what I'm talking about. There it is there, you can see it plugged in. I have a new one, which I've had sitting here for months actually, but it's a genuine. There's some horrible aftermarket ones out there. Maybe you guys can tell me if you've had success with the cheap ones from Rock Auto. I was going to order one, but opted to hunt down a genuine one. So it's a Safika out of France. Obviously a genuine VW Audi part. I think I scored it off of eBay. I plugged the part number in that I needed and eventually got a hit on it. So that was kind of nice. I'm going to go ahead and change that out. I've mentioned before, I'm not kind of high-tech enough, and my recording equipment isn't high-tech enough for me to set it up so you can see what I'm doing. But I'll shut it off, and we'll rejoin once it's fixed and take you through that a little bit more. Thanks. So I pulled the fan out. Like I said, I couldn't, I'm not that high tech enough to set a camera up to show you how to do it, but it's pretty straightforward. There's a little plastic mounting tab. You just push the thing up, rotate it out. So I have the old one out. There's the old resistor. You see quite a bit of corrosion and crud sitting in it. The blower motor still works, of course, but the bearing's a little bit dry in it. So I think it's original. It's pretty old. I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you here if I can set it up. Obviously the difference between the new one and the old one. Sorry, the lighting's a bit tough. It's lots of corrosion, lots of crud, no corrosion, no crud. One of my favorite things that I use in the shop all the time is deoxit. Use it mostly for electronic stuff, but anything electrical. It's a nice cleaner that leaves a little bit of oil behind. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit a little bit on the two connectors. And then when I pull them off, I'm just going to give them a quick wire brush to clean them up before I reinstall them and transfer them over to the new resistor. We'll get this thing back in and see how it does. So I got the resistor and the fan motor back in the car. Let's see how we did. Oh, nice. All speeds again. Gotta love that. That was, I'm pretty sure, I'll just think about it here for a moment. That was probably the last electrical thing that didn't work quite to snuff on this car. So I'm happy to have that rocking and rolling again. Now the magic part will be, or the big difficult part will be, to see if I can somehow string these 3 videos together, because I don't edit stuff like I fix things. So new skill sets coming, so be gentle on me, guys, okay? Thanks. Without a doubt, winter sucks for doing this kind of stuff. It's not that late and it's already dark and kind of miserable out here, but I'm dying to take this thing for a test drive. It's not pouring rain at the moment. Actually, not pouring rain. It's not really raining at all. So I'm just going to take it down the road, see how the brakes feel, see how it is to have heat at 4 different speeds. And yeah, then like I said before, I'm going to see if somehow I can string all this into one cohesive video. I doubt it, but new skill sets and learning is fun, right? That's what they say. Just back from my test drive with the GTI. Just put it back in the garage. It's actually starting to rain out here now, and it was in the last sort of 2 minutes of my test drive. Pitch dark, pretty crappy. I'm not a wintertime guy, but brakes feel good. The Mark IV calipers are nice, fresh pageant pads. I look forward to getting the rotors done in the back as well, so that'll be kind of buttoned up. Heater works in all speeds. That was very pleasant. I think the best part though was just getting this thing out for a little drive, even if it was only 10 minutes down the road and back. Just awesome to be to be in it again. It's been a while since I've driven it. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Let's see if I can make this into something and see what you guys think of it. Feel free to leave comments below, and we'll go from there and see you next time. Thanks, guys.